Okay, back again, jiggity jig. Now, we have gotten the most tedious parts of the wolf done. Just the two base coats, the antiquing solution, and then the first overall antiquing wiping back coat is the absolute hardest part, most tedious part of doing a piece. So we have that done and out of the way. I'm moving my picture to a place where I can see it a bit more. I'm going to now focus most of my attention on the wolf part, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to do the wolf first, and then I'm going to do the driftwood piece last. That way I can keep holding on down here, and by the time I'm done up here, I should be able to turn it around and do the driftwood piece. So I'm just going to pour out just a little. Now this is where I'm going to start being kind of picky about where I put the color, because now I'm pretty much only going to want to put my color where I want that color. Whereas with doing the first coating, you just did the color wherever. And now I'm going to do just where I want the actual color. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and do all over brown and layer the colors. But I don't exactly want to do that, so I'm sticking with just doing the color where I want it. And this time I'm not going to wipe back as aggressively as I did when doing the first color, because I want to leave more color behind. And this is where it comes into, there's no wrong way to do it, and there's no wrong place to put the color. If you do get the color in a spot that you don't want it, you can either just wipe it back or get out a wet wipe and take off more color. If you need a little bit more color, add some more. And if you feel like you put it in the wrong spot, you could also let it kind of dry and paint over it if you want to. I want a little bit more color on the nose than what the original picture has. Sort of. And if you notice, I didn't go back in and put any more paint on my brush, because now I'm kind of going back through and doing a slight dry brush in the nose area, because I wanted to get that a little bit more browned up in there. Now the picture only shows the side view, so I'm going to have to take some liberty about the coloration on the top of the head. And I probably brought out too much brown paint onto my plate. That's okay though. I'll use some of that brown for the wood. A little dab will do ya. I took off a little too much color, I'm just going to kind of feather back over it. So kind of a dry brush method. Keep thinking I have the right brushes, and I keep going to look for them, and they're not the brushes I want. So far, I'm liking the brushes from the Dollar Tree. There's one I like. The one that I want. The one that I want. There we go. Alrighty. So there's most of the brown work. Now I'm gonna go, where's my gray? But see how easy it is to pour out too much? So that, like I said early in an earlier video, you know, when you're taking a class, if the instructor wants to pass out how much color you get, don't be offended. It's not that they don't trust you, it's that they don't trust you. And it's, you know, from personal experience, they know that people are going to pour out more than what they need to pour out. I might have needed a smaller brush. And I'm gonna do a dry brush, semi-dry brush. But not at the same time. Like, I don't want to have a whole lot of color on my brush at this particular moment. I feel like I'm doing makeup. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm putting gray where a portion of the grayish white fur is in the picture. And then I'm kind of wiping it back. This particular one is going to take a couple layers of color. You will kind of, because you're blending the colors, because a wolf isn't just brown, you know, and where they are brown, they're not just brown in that area. There's multiple colors in that area. So after I go through and do all this darker gray, I'm gonna go back through again and do some white in the gray area as well. And then the white, when I do the white will be even more of a dry brush type. Color technique. And by doing these layers of color on top of color and wiping back and all that, that's one way that you can get your depth. So here it, I always have a hard time, there we go. It's starting to look more like a real animal, but you don't want to have these harsh lines either, so kind of want to go up into the color a little bit. And wipe it down. So time to do eye makeup again. Don't be afraid to work at a spot for a little while. Go slow. Don't try to rush it. Blend it until you feel more like it's the coloration you're looking for. Don't be afraid to layer your colors, because layering your colors is where the depth comes from. And like, if you feel like you got, that is not my brown. Oh, there's my brown. This is Mediterranean. I don't want Mediterranean. I need my brown. Like, I feel like I got a little bit too much gray in here, so I'm going to take my brush without adding any more color to my brush. I'm going to go in and build the brown back up in that area. Keep my colors separate. Now I'm just kind of going over with a very, very dry brush over some of that brown to kind of tone it down just a little bit, give it some depth, kind of to blend everything in so you don't have any harsh lines. Okay, so far there is the wolf, compared to its picture. Next I'll be doing some white. And I'm gonna do attempt to do an even smaller dollop of white. And I'm not going to put as much white on my brush because now I'm going to do even more of a dry brush. And you're just gonna have a lot of patience and build the white up slowly. And again, if you find yourself rushing and not building it up slowly and you get it too much in one area, you can always wipe it back. And it's just a lot of, honestly, just taking your time and letting it build. the loose hair. What I did just then was added some blending medium, kind of breathe a little bit more life into the white that I already had on my brush, keep me from having to get out more white. Because there's still a ton of paint in this brush. But I think, where did I put my white? There it is. I think I'm still going to do a little bit more use a slightly smaller brush to get just a little bit more pure color in some spots. If you feel like the colors are blending together too much, you can stop and come back to it later. I know I'm doing something that I told you not to do. Leaving my paint open, and I'm painting sort of right from the bottle. Now, I myself was starting to not like it, so I set it down, I put it under the camera, and I looked away from it, and I looked onto my computer screen, and I was like, oh, that actually looks good. So that's a little secret, is if you start finding yourself hating your project, step away from it. Take a look at it from a different angle. You know, if you can look at it from your phone or 6 feet away, it takes you out of the creation aspect, as in you're you're no longer the creator. You're the person enjoying the artwork. You'll find that can really help a lot. Now I also know that I said, you know, keep one brush for each color. I don't do that most times. I wanted to add just a little bit more brown, and then just a little bit more of the white on the inside of that ear. Kind of the same thing with that ear. Also, I want to put just a little bit more brown. Actually, I think I want some Mediterranean on the back of this ear. There we go. I'm probably driving Ruth Ann Jackson Butler a little insane with me cleaning my brushes and getting ready to use them for a different color. Now, there are some extremely talented ladies out there that are actually certified to teach. Please take some of their classes. Don't be afraid to take their classes. Enjoy the learning experience. Okay. I'm going to do black now. Ever so tiny. I'm going to do the nose. I'm going to outline the eyes, which I'll probably regret and have to go back and outline them again. So I'm going to bring a little bit of the black down this way and a little bit of the black out this way. And then I'm going to do the red in the mouth and then come back and outline the mouth with black. And of course make sure the teeth look nice and creamy. Not white, but cream. I'm really trying to make sure I do this on camera. And I'm cheating, and I'm using a bit of paper towel. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted. Okay. I'll just feather some of that black out. All I'm doing is pulling some of the black out away from the nose and into the fur, and then in the front of the mouth a little bit further. Because the nose is not perfectly round or lined. Okay, and I think I'm not going to do the lining of the eye yet because I want to do the eye color before I do the lining of the eye. And eye color, I had picked a mustard yellow. This is Fashion Hues number S21, mustard. I think I need to shake that somewhere. It's been a minute since I've used my Fashion Hues. There we go. Now I'm hearing it mix. Okay? And because it's going to be such a minuscule amount, I am only going to use from the lid. There's no point in pouring any out. I'm not wiping, I'm just kind of going in and patting. I'm going to take a little bit of a Q-tip. It's a clean Q-tip, and I'm licking it. That's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm getting the very tip of the Q-tip moist. I know lots of people don't like that word, moist. And I'm going to wipe it back just a little bit more in the center. I think I just wiped it back way too much. That's okay, I can put it back. There we go. still way too much. So far there's the eye. I've left sort of the center almost white for now. I'm going to wipe back some of the brown that's in this other eye because that was a bit more brown than what I started with on the other eye. And then I'm just going to take from the corner and bring it in. And kind of follow along like you're doing eyeliner. And then I'm going to wipe away at the center if I got too much in there. Q-tips and toothpicks are great tools to have on hand at all times. Now I'm going to get a little bit of the Mediterranean, and I used the exact same brush that I just used in the gold, which I'm done with the gold or the mustard, so I'm going to close it up. Hopefully I won't need it again. But I went ahead and I took the exact same brush that I used in the mustard. I put it a little bit into the Mediterranean. I kind of wipe it off. And I'm going to kind of blend it into the spot that we left kind of white. When you do this, you want the spot to be somewhat in the same spot on both sides, because you don't want to have a cross-eyed wolf. Okay, then you take just a little bit of white, just the tiniest bit. And kind of work it into a spot of the darker area. And again, kind of in the same spot. Putting that little bit of white in the middle of the eye, or at a certain point in the eye, kind of breathes life into that eye. And eyes are always the hardest thing to do, so do not get discouraged on your eyes. If you have to, walk away, put it down and walk away, and then come back to it when you're calmed down. Now I'm using the tiniest little brush from the Dollar Tree package, and I'm going to go in and do some eyeliner. Wolves are such gorgeous creatures, they actually come with built-in eyeliner. Now if you don't have a brush that is this tiny, that's when a toothpick comes in handy. You use a toothpick to do this part. And you work very slowly. So there's one mulefly done. See how much life that brought to it? I'm not sure if this is the color I want to use for the inside of the mouth. I'm going to check. Now, with fashion hues, a lot of the colors you wipe back and they still come out looking good, and it doesn't really change their overall appearance of color. But reds, when you use them and wipe them back, they end up looking very pink. And so that's why I took out the black currant to see about using it for the mouth, because I didn't want it, I don't want the mouth looking super pink or super red. But the black currant might be just a little too deep in color. So what I'm gonna do is find my red brown, not the color I want. Red. And I'm gonna see what mixing a little bit of the red into the black currant will do. Uh-oh, I just added some white in there. I got too close to my white. Well, let's see here. That might actually be a good mouth color. Let's give it a shot. I'll close up my red if I don't want to spill it. And I'm going to start inside. That might be a good color. Just added a little bit of the blending medium. Because I don't want to work too hard at putting the color in here, because I don't want to have to get in there and wipe it back, because it's really hard to do. I've got to work on my angles. I think that's a good inside the mouth color without making it look like blood and gore. Because if you use straight up red, it could look pretty gory. Look like it's blood. And if you wipe back red, then it looks pink. Then it looks cartoony. So a little bit of the black currant and the red. I think made for a really good inside the mouth color. What do y'all think? Ooh. I think that made a really good, was a really good color choice. Keeps it from looking gory and bloody. Not too cartoony. Definitely don't want a cartoony look on a realistic looking wolf. What I just did is I just kind of wiped back some of that because I got out from where I really wanted to be with that color. What I might need to do is come back with some more brown and white around the mouth area. And this is just kind of continue to work until you have it. Where you want it. And remember, you're going to be your own worst critic. So typically if you find yourself happy with something, everybody else is going to think it is absolutely the best thing they've ever seen in their whole life. And they won't believe your talent, so on and so forth. And yes, sometimes these pieces will take hours and hours and hours to do. And I'm going to add a little bit of blending medium to my gray brush here. Bring back some life to the paint in that brush. And just kind of go up against the black. I got some stuff on his nose, so I'm going to have to fix that. Now I'm just kind of going back along and feathering it so that it's not a sharp, crisp line. Except for where I want it to be a sharp, crisp line. The only problem with wearing a long sleeve scrub jacket to paint in is I get freaking hot. Oh. So the wolf is pretty much done headwise. I think tomorrow, after everything's had time to dry, I will come back and do another light dry brushing of white so that some of that white gets a little bit more crisp. And tomorrow I will do the log. I don't know what time that will be. I'll probably just randomly sign on like I was doing today. But I have to go down to the mud room and open some molds so that they can be drying, so they can be final cleaned and kiln fired on time, all that good stuff. So I gotta go do some of that real work now. tomorrow's colors for the wood is actually going to be some black currant, probably some Mediterranean, some red brown, some caramel. Let's see here, caramel, Mediterranean, black currant, red brown, and pumpkin. I like my wood to be very vibrant and alive looking. So here is the wolf semi-finished. Like I said, tomorrow I'm gonna dry brush some more white so that it's a little bit more crisp. Like in this area, I love how crisp it looks, whereas back here, not so much. So I'm gonna do some more dry brushing on here, but I want to let it dry just a little bit so that the color ends up just a little bit more crisp. So for now, everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm signing off, and I will see you tomorrow.